Cheers.
Cheers.
This is Evan and Kosi film review.
Yep.
Okay.
Movie review.
And the other movie review didn't record properly, so we're not going to talk about that again because we already talked it to death. What we are going to talk about
all in vain.
Yes, all in vain. We're going to talk about Midnight Sky.
All right.
The George Clooney Netflix original movie.
Mm-hmm. The trailer was good. Did we watch the trailer?
No, we watched the trailer. It was crap too. So just so you know, this is my opinion on the movie. Midnight Sky is loathsome trash. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It was
really?
horrible. No, it was like I was dying. It was like
Well,
what's that movie with Robin Williams? What Dreams May Come. It's like
I haven't watched that movie.
Well, it's a movie where a man dies and he like goes to heaven, right?
Okay.
And when I watched that movie, it was like I was dying because it was so bad. So anyway,
Well, it was frustrating for sure.
so she had a lot of deep thoughts on Edward Scissorhands, which you talked about before. I may have some deeper thoughts here, but here's my problem with Midnight Sky. George Clooney treats the fact that it's a sci-fi movie as an afterthought. It's like not important. As a matter of fact, he really could have made this movie in any situation, and it's almost like it was, the sci-fi aspect was like an afterthought. It's like, I'm going to focus on human emotions. Except the problem is, it was badly written trash that was not particularly interesting or involving in any way. We can start with the positives, right?
Sure.
What are the positives?
Talk.
It's just, you had a lot more thoughts on Edward Scissorhands. You're trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I know.
It was.
There is a problem with Cozy. She doesn't. If it's been like a week, it's like it doesn't. For me, I remember movies. I remember movies I saw when I was 5 with like crystalline clarity.
Let me tell you something, because it was so frustrating. So it wasn't clear.
Yes,
and
I think
wasn't
you remember.
Really, no. Listen. Because it didn't have clear ending. It didn't really stay in my mind.
It was just bad. That's probably why it didn't stay in your mind. Next time we'll have to film this.
Yeah,
we'll have to film this right after you've watched it. Okay, but I remember because luckily I have a good memory.
Actually, baby, he's a great actor. So
George
there was tension. And actually it kept me going, like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
It did. The only thing that kept me going was wondering what happened to the Earth. So let me preface this for you, okay? At the beginning of the movie, it's clear that the Earth is being destroyed by some unnamed cloud of death, okay? And it's fairly apparent that humans created it, right? But I'm really waiting to find out what happened, okay? I'm really interested. What exactly did humans do to cause the Earth to be uninhabitable? Okay, now this is interesting. This is actually the basis, the layers of sci-fi. Okay, this is what sci-fi is all about. It's like explaining, like, look at this, look, we're in the future, and this is how stuff is, and this is how humanity works. That's like the foundation of sci-fi. Okay, and that's the only thing that kept me watching. What I didn't realize is that this whole 90% of the movie, I'm waiting to hear an explanation for what the hell happened. And George Clooney does not give a shit. Okay, so the beginning, here's what I'll give the movie. Okay, here's the positive.
Sure.
The first 5 minutes, positive. Okay, old man Clooney. Old man George Clooney, all of a sudden we all realize how old we are because he looks really old. Okay. And he's got some unnamed disease, and he's on a station. They've evacuated. The world's ending, and he's like doing his own blood transfusions. And there's some interesting setup here, right? This is going to be interesting. We wait the entire movie to find out what the fuck happened. Pardon my French, okay? And then finally, and we'll get to this, but finally the spaceship crew that has been approaching Earth finally gets in contact with someone. The whole movie has been building to this moment. This moment. And finally, after an hour and a half of just trash, they get in contact, and the lady goes, "What happened?" And this is his response. There's like a silence, and he goes, "We did a bad job down here." Okay? And that's it. That was it. I waited the entire movie to hear him go, "Yeah, we didn't do a very good job of things down here." Yeah.
Weren't there 2 guys who decided to just?
Oh yeah, that was worse.
Go
that was trash.
Right?
So let's back up, right? So so there's the George Clooney segue, and he runs into a little girl, and there's potential here for the first like 15, 20 minutes of the movie, there's actually potential. He meets a little girl at the base. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like, I didn't want to be a father, right? There might be something here. Thank you, baby. You're not talking as much as the last review.
Okay, I'm not doing the talking part. I mostly do the nodding part.
Okay,
right?
well, you did the talking part before, but
yeah,
it's okay.
Okay.
So the little girl's there. She's in the base. Everything's cool, right? And there's an emotional connection. It's kind of cutesy, and we're willing to let it slide, right? Because we're still interested in what happened to the Earth. Then it cuts to this spaceship returning from, I believe it was like Saturn. They discovered a moon of Saturn that was habitable, which of course
I really like the spaceship scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I disagree, but we'll go back. So it is ridiculous, of course, that suddenly there would be a habitable like moon on Saturn. I think it was probably Jupiter, because Jupiter has a lot of moons, like Europa, right? The water underneath the ice. The spaceship looked great. The spaceship looked good. The spaceship utilized a lot of construction that I think you see where now they have machines designing these. Like they need a frame for a plane to bear weight, and the machine designs this bizarre spider web looking structure, and it turns out that it carries more weight than anything that humans could ever design up. So that was cool. I think here's 1 second positive. I think the spaceship looked cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the passengers on the spaceship were about as lame as you could get. It was like they took
they were not scientists.
They were scientists.
No,
that was problem. And I would expect.
I mean, they didn't look like scientists. I mean, their actions, their.
What do scientists look like?
I don't know, but the people who are on the spaceships, they are calm. They're smart. They I don't know. They think things in practical way.
Yes, I think they were calm and smart and practical till the last minute, and then it was really stupid. But anyway, so I think someone took, like, you know that scene in Austin Powers where they take his mojo? I think they did that for everybody on this spaceship. They stole their mojo, and it was like, the director was like, I want you guys to be as least charismatic as possible in every film scene. And what do you have her name? She was from the History of Everything, right? It was, what's his name's wife. She was also in Star Wars. Can't remember her name. You remember the girl in Star Wars in Rogue One? Felicity Jones. That's it. Felicity Jones. So she was there, and she was pregnant, which is a cool angle, I guess. And it gives like that whole survival for humanity angle, but like, who really cares? So the whole crew is pretty lame, right? And they just kind of float through space. And this like two halves of the movie, right? So the one half of the movie is George Clooney has to get to a station, and he's got to take the little girl to get a message out. The other half of the movie is the crew flying back to Earth, and they're noticing that something's up because they can't contact with anybody. The scenes on the spaceship are entertaining for about a minute because they're trying to contact Earth and they can't get in contact with Earth, and it's like, oh, this is interesting, and then you realize you're stuck with these people. And then they do all the requisite, boring, stupid spaceship tropes. Of course, there's the asteroid swarm, there's the meteor swarm. Oh, no, the meteor swarm. Like, we haven't seen that a billion times, okay? And then one of them dies, and it's really sad, okay? I felt no emotional connection to any of these people. It was just badly directed. It was badly written. By the way, bad writing, I think, is the fundamental crux of why most modern movies are just dog shit. But at least I'll give Midnight Sky this. Yeah.
Can I tell you one scene that I didn't understand?
Yeah.
Was when the ice broke and the George Clooney dropped into the freezing cold water.
And he was just fine.
Yeah.
I was going to get to that. So the other half of the movie is George Clooney on his little bike with the little girl trailing him, and they are going to this other station where they're going to send a better signal, right? It's pretty lame, but who cares? So they got to go to the better station, and he runs into a guy in a plane crash who's alive, and he shoots him. That part's kind of interesting. Probably one of the few interesting moments. But then, yes, inexplicably, midway through the movie, he's sleeping in this, I think it's like a crash bin or something, and the ice just opens up underneath him, and he and it's, of course, totally random and kind of, what do you call that? So, like, how would this ever even happen? Like, just randomly, all of a sudden, just the ice was open.
Drama, right?
Needed drama, right? Artificially created drama. But he falls into this sub-zero water. Like, that's like guaranteed death, right? Yeah. And it's like he's on a sauna. It's like he's just treading water, and he's like, oh, and then he gets out, and he's just fine. Despite the fact that he's
dry.
He's lost his motorcycle, and they're like guaranteed dead. He lost his motorcycle, fell into the ocean. He fell into the sub-zero freezing waters.
Did they walk?
And he gets out.
Afterwards?
Yeah, they walked afterwards.
Oh,
He gets out like it's all good, like it's okay. I've got the Back to the Future 2 just like self-drying coat, like it's all good. No, that dude would be dead. So that kind of takes you out of the moment. So the spaceship's flying back, some people die, blah, blah, blah. They finally get there, and we're like 2 hours in. This entire time, I was waiting for them to say what the hell had happened to the Earth. This was the only reason I was still watching, because the writing was bad, the dialogue was bad. George Clooney seemed to think the entire movie could be like inferred by just like vague dialogue, and it's like so bad, dude. Like no,
but maybe no, it was the intention.
I think he's trying to remake
maybe it
Solaris.
was the intention of
Clearly
getting
it
the
was
audience
the
to inner world, not the outer world. Inner world, what happens inside of yourself.
I don't think that's interesting. Maybe it's interesting in Inside Out. You know, Pixar. Emotions have emotions, right? No, it's so sad because so many people work so hard on this thing, and it's just like, what is the final product? Who was reviewing the script?
Or maybe
was
this
reviewing
movie
the
is too
script?
early.
Clearly, 1,000 years from now, it'll be Citizen Kane, but not now. So anyway, and then here's our next favorite part, and this is very much like Ad Astra with these just random, nonsensical, what are these people doing? Let's infer everything. No, nothing anybody's doing making sense. These two men who are fucking scientists, okay, and they certainly sold themselves on how anti-charismatic they were the entire movie. These men who are scientists who are coming back from this planet, and their duty is to save the motherfucking Earth, and they've been informed by George Clooney that the Earth, they hadn't done such a good job down there, right? Like literally, George Clooney is a fucking scientist, okay? And these people are scientists, they're astronauts on a spaceship, and they ask him, what happened? We're kind of interested to know what happened. Maybe we want to know what happens for our future children and our children's children that are going to be living on this moon of Jupiter. Maybe we could tell them what happened. It's kind of important. Instead, George Clooney, they may have 30 seconds for the broadcast, and he goes, we didn't do such a good job down here. That's some real scientist talk right there. Anyway, so then these two motherfuckers, these two guys, go, man, we gotta fly back. We gotta fly back to our family. Our families are 1,000% guaranteed dead. We gotta fly back to our families. I didn't even bother listening to whatever reasoning they had. It made zero sense. It made zero sense. They're fucking scientists. Yeah. They have a duty. They might be dooming humanity. Well, they had a duty for the genetic expansion. As far as I remember, there was only one female left on the crew, Felicity, right? Because the other lady had died to meteors. You need genetic variants, okay? So every man needed to impregnate Felicity. They're turning their back on the human race.
I couldn't cry.
Why? It's stupid. and then the end of the movie, which I was completely phased out at that point. But I guess it turns out that the little girl who was following him the whole time. By the way, throughout the movie, there are fairly pointless flashbacks about George and his past, because we're supposed to care, but we don't really. And what does it all mean? And then at the end of the movie, there's this surprise twist, which is the little girl wasn't real. She wasn't real, and it turns out that was his daughter. It's like an illusion. It's a fake. His daughter, and his daughter is actually the woman flying the spaceship. It's Felicity Jones. That was his daughter. He was imagining his daughter as a way to get to that station, to get that message out to his real daughter, saying, "We didn't do such a good job down here." Okay. No, it's right. And seriously, when it happened, it was like, who cares? Really? I didn't care like 10 minutes in, okay? So seriously, it's bad. It's loathsome trash. I'm sorry, I talked way more than you this time.
No, because I don't really remember.
I know. So we need to do this like an hour after we watch a movie, because with Kozaway, it's in and out, baby. Like one day later, it's gone. But I remember.
What's your suggestion for the people who are going to watch the movie? Or
don't.
Or who are going to watch the movie again and enjoy more?
Well, yeah, it could be used as like I was going to say a form of execution or birth control or something. People can watch it multiple times. It's like a first aid device to induce vomiting or something.
Well, like, baby, like music, the new music. The real good music.
No,
you listen to it.
Here's my true problem with it. Okay, so on a scale of like 1 to 10, right? If something's truly terrible, it's like glorious in its own way because it's truly bad. This wasn't truly bad. It wasn't truly good. It was simply mediocre. It was forgettable. Oh. It was like competently directed, and the sets were beautiful and everything, but the writing was terrible. And when you combine all these things, it was just mediocre. It's forgettable, and that breaks my heart because George Clooney did like Out of Sight. Like George Clooney's a badass. He's great. He did Michael Clayton. He's a cool guy.
Was there anything that they could have changed and make it way better?
Yes, they should have put me in charge of telling them no when they greenlighted the movie, or put me in charge of rewriting the script. Or like George should have called me and they should have said, "Hey Evan, what do you think about at the very end of the movie, the only reason people are still watching this piece of shit, wondering what happened to the Earth? Do you think I should tell my daughter, right, the big twist ending? You think I should tell her when she asked me, the scientists, two scientists talking to each other, right? Should I tell her, like, what the fuck happened? Or should I tell her, we didn't do such a good job around here?
So what would it be?
I think the video's going on way too long.
Oh, right.
What's your question?
No. Yeah. What would it be? Is that right English? I don't know. What would it be the better line to say in the end? Instead of saying,
I think it was way too late. I mean, he could have gone into an in-depth explanation exactly what had happened to humanity, but it was way too late. I mean, we were already 3/4, 6/5, or whatever it was. We were already way deep into the movie, and it was too late. The movie was irredeemable at that point. Okay. But yeah, it's bad. Right. It's bad. Ta-da! Evan and Cozy movie review.